Hello, specimens. Let's go there. Yes. So I have to tell you something about myself. I basically grew up with Central Air, and I mean, I had a pretty good amount of my childhood without Central Air, but the rest of my teen years, I'd say, my teen years, I got Central Air, and I grew up with that. If I had to choose between no air conditioning and air conditioning, believe it or not, I'd actually choose no air conditioning whatsoever. Since I live in the Northeast, I live in the state of New York, not the city, nowhere near the city. So I live in New York State, and our summers, they get pretty sweltering, like you sweat a lot, it's very humid, you're sticky, and it's like that kind of weather. And I seriously have to say that I love living with no air conditioner, because I live in an apartment without AC, and I have to say that there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons. And with the amount of pros there are, though, I definitely take no AC any day. So unless you're in the desert and such. Believe it or not, I hate hot weather, but it's a fact of life. You got to get used to seasons. So I have a list of pros and cons, and we're going to just dive right into that. And yeah. Pro, you get to sleep with fresh air. You get to sleep with fresh air coming in. So that's awesome. Fresh air is really good for you. It's better than AC. AC is just forced cooled air. So yeah, it's not really that good for you. A con is that if you don't have a properly screened window, which most houses do these days, but if you don't have a properly screened window, say one of your screens is kind of torn up by, say, a cat or something, there's a high chance that you're going to be eaten alive by mosquitoes. Yeah, I have so many mosquito bites on my ankles and on my back. Everywhere else is fine because before going to bed, it's added to my night routine, which I have a pretty decent routine where I wash my face, I spray some eucalyptus on my face. It actually protects my face from mosquitoes, by the way, and mint. I've added some peppermint oil to that, so double insurance there. But the rest of my body, I use a good layer of Deep Woods bug spray. So yeah, be sure to spray yourself down. Pro, you get well adjusted to the heat, and have a better tolerance to it, because once you go out, it's basically the same temperature inside as it is outside sometimes. If it's just, if you just leave the windows open and no air movement going on, because it's not that hot out, just like today. We only, my fans are on low, just to keep the air moving. I have them on low, but I don't really need them on, so to speak, today. But yeah, you get so well adjusted to it. 90 degrees is almost nothing to me now. Almost nothing. Almost. But it's still ooh, it's warm. And especially since I live in New York, where the heat is humidity most of the time. It's hardly ever a dry heat. It's mostly humid. And so it makes it feel warmer than it actually is. So when it's hot, I feel really sluggish. My brain is just blah, and it's just really that's all I feel. And you feel really lazy. You don't want to move much. During the really high humidity days, I barely get any housework done at all, and I already am bad at housework to begin with. you get so well adjusted to it that it's almost nothing. It's almost nothing. A con, though, I keep thinking of Star Trek every time I say con. Con, you might get easily cold when you enter air-conditioned buildings or cars. Take, for instance, yesterday, so I'm filming on a Monday, so yesterday was Sunday. I walk into the church and they have AC going, and I get a little chill. And then I come back outside, it's fine. And my dad picks me up because it was Father's Day, so I spent the day with my dad, and my mom and my brother and my grandparents. But yeah, hi. So yeah, I spent the day with my dad, and I enter his car, and I got a sudden blast of air conditioning. I'm so not used to air conditioning anymore. It's just like, whew, it's cold. And I actually felt some goosebumps, but I didn't say anything because it's like, well, he's used to AC, I'm not. So whatever. I'm used to, like, I love driving with the windows down and everything anymore. So when you're not used to AC, be expected to get a little cold easily, so bring a jacket or something like that. I end up bringing a jacket to Walmart once in a great while because of that. Pro, you get really inventive for trying to stay cool. I got pretty inventive this year, and I am definitely going to be reusing the same kind of invention every summer. I found these big soda bottles. We really got to take returnables back to where we bought them from. So I have all these soda bottles, and I filled them with water, and I stuck them in my freezer. And when it gets particularly hot, I stick the water bottles in between like a fan sandwich. I have a window fan, as I may have mentioned a few times. I have a window fan, and I have a blue box fan, and I have that in front of the window fan for like extra air kind of thing going. And the reason why it's actually there is because of my homemade air conditioner, and it's not as strong as a real air conditioner. It's more of just like, it's blowing cooler air, let the air circulate, and it cools the place down about 5 degrees. And 5 degrees can make the most difference in the world when it's really hot outside. So I stick a frozen bottle of water, a big one, make sure it's a big one if it's on the floor or something like that, and I stick that in front of the window fan, and it's also behind the box fan. And on particularly hot days, I use more than one, and oh my lord, it was very humid and pretty warm in here last night. So I had 3 of the frozen bottles. I had 1 in front, and I had 2 behind the window fan, so it was like the window fan was kind of sandwiched between the water bottles, and I had them up on high, and it just cooled down the entire apartment. And that is like, I felt like a genius. Con, without proper airflow, your house can feel like an oven. Yeah, remember last year I didn't have any window open for the first half of summer, and then I only had 1 window open, and it helped and didn't help at the same time. So it was an oven in here, and I went on a lot of walks at night. Oh my gosh. Pro, you find yourself outside more, like I said. When you're used to the heat, being outside is like nothing to you. So going outside for walks and stuff, going to the park, going outside to go swimming, yeah, it's great. Con, sometimes you find yourself outside more because it's hotter inside, and that's, yep, last summer, that's, yeah. So there's a pro and there's a con, but it's okay, you know. People survived in like the days before air conditioning, you can survive as well. But pro, you save a lot of electricity bills. I love seeing the bill anymore this during summer because it's like really tiny. So it's yay, thank you. Con, some nights cuddles are nowhere to be found on the menu. Yep. And it's mainly me. when you're married, I can guarantee you it's mostly the woman that goes, no, please stay away from me, because I do that, and I say stay away from me because at night my body temperature just drops and like my skin feels really cold, and so my husband is attracted to it like a fly to poop. And he tries to cuddle. He's like, oh, you're nice and cool. I'm like, no, stay away from me. Don't touch me. You are like an oven. So stay on your side of the bed. Yeah, it gets hot sometimes, and I'd be like, no, please. And I need to lay down. Like, it's always like I have to lay down and like just stay still long enough to actually feel like I'm cooling down, and then when I feel like I'm cooling down, then I'm more inclined to cuddle and stuff. But stay away from me, basically. And I'm gonna end this with a pro. You gain greater appreciation for seasonal changes, and I totally agree. I mean, yes, I wrote this list, but you do gain a really big appreciation for that because last year when fall started coming, when autumn was rolling around, I had the windows open because it was still kind of warm. Well, window open because I was still kind of warm, and I could smell the fall air coming through, and it's just like, wow, yep, you know, it's definitely fall. And I was walking outside more and watching the leaves change. It was just, since summer got me walking more often, and so when fall was rolling around, I was actually walking outside more often, and I got to see a lot of the leaves. I'm gonna end the video now, especially since I'm coughing. And I shall see you next week. So, bye!